Hello, everyone, and welcome to another live stream. If you want to know the reason why we're always interested in learning how to play the major scale, you want to watch to the end of this lesson. Your scale, which is a combination of all the tones in the key, basically has everything you need to understand harmony: thirds, fifths, sevenths, and extensions. Why do they matter? I'll tell you after the introduction. This is the day that the Yeah, I know a lot of us want to learn how to play scales and use them as a warm-up mechanism. You want to just play. Scales are beautiful. However, beyond just playing your scale as your warm-up mechanism, I have a very special information for you. This, this, and this can help you form any chord you want to form. And the notes I'm skipping the second tone, I'm skipping the fourth tone, and I'm skipping the sixth tone. So this is the C major scale. I'm not just interested in the C major scale because I want to do a warm-up mechanism. Okay, the combination of the 1, 3, and 5 gives me a triad, and the combination of the 1, 3, 5, and 7 gives me a 7th chord. And there are just two chords in the world of music: triads and 7th chords. And I'll tell you what happens beyond the world of triads and 7th chords. Okay, let's take a look at this. Why do we want to learn and understand the D flat major scale? That's because on the world of D flat, you need the 1, the 3, and the 5. What's the 1, 3, and 5? This gives you the major. And sometimes we can raise the 5. Sometimes we can lower the 5. Sometimes we can lower the 3rd. Sometimes we can also have a combination of a lower 3rd and the lowered 5th. Let me show you how this works. If you go to any major scale, the reason why you have the 3rd tone is because the 3rd tone helps you to decide the type of chord you want to form. What is the 3rd tone of the D major scale? F sharp. What is the 3rd tone of the E major scale? G sharp. The 3rd tone makes the chord major. But if you alter the 3rd tone, if you lower that 3rd tone, you have a minor chord. Who can tell me what the 3rd tone of a G chord is? The 3rd tone of a G chord is B natural. Here's the G. The 3rd tone of the G scale is B. So if you go B flat, what do you have? The type of 3rd determines what you get from the chord. So the sole purpose of the 3rd tone is to understand, is to give us harmonic direction. Okay, we want to know what's going on. What's the 3rd tone of an E flat, of the E flat major scale? The 3rd tone of the E flat major scale is G. All E flat chords will have some type of G. And if you lower the G, you go from major to minor. That's why the 3rd tone of the major scale exists. Okay? The 3rd tone is beyond the warm-up mechanism. It's for you to know what's going on. The 3rd tone of the A major scale is what? It's C sharp. If you lower the C sharp, what do you have? You have C natural. So in the key of A major, the reason why you're learning the A major scale is because you want to know what the 3rd tone is and change the 3rd tone to go from major to minor. So I'm going to quickly jump from the 3rd tone to the 5th tone. The 3rd tone is designed to establish major and minor. The 5th tone is for diminished and augmented. That's why we are practicing our scale. Who can tell me what the 5th tone of the C major scale is? Type it in the chat. Type it in the chat, okay? The 5th tone of the C major scale is G. All C chords with a G are okay. The 5th tone of the F major scale is C. All F chords with a C are good to go. But what happens when the fifth tone is raised or when the fifth tone is lowered? Raising the fifth tone is what? Is augmented. Now take a look. The fifth tone of the C major scale is G, but some C chords show up with a G sharp. And what do you call the C chords with a G sharp? Augmented chords. The fifth is larger than usual. All right. So take a look at this. From C to G is 7 half steps. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. From C to G, 7 half steps. But when you go G sharp, it's larger because it's going to have 8 half steps. So we have this as C to G, C to G sharp, and there's also the possibility of a C chord coming with a G flat, and that's what you call the diminished. Major and minor, third tone. Augmented and diminished, fifth tone. Hey, so when I'm practicing the C major scale, yes, this is good for a lot of melodic reasons, like, hearing the tones of the scale so that you can recognize them in melodies, but this helps in chords as well. So the third tone is for major and minor. The fifth tone is for diminished and augmented. Why am I supposed to learn the D flat major scale? I'll tell you why. Because the third tone tells me where to find major, and this is minor. The fifth tone tells me that this is for major and minor chords, and if I raise this, is augmented. If I lower this, is diminished. Wait a minute, let me quiz us. What is the fifth tone of the D major scale? What is the fifth tone of the D major scale? The fifth tone of the D major scale is A. So all D chords with an A sharp or A flat qualify as augmented and diminished chords respectively. One more time. What is the fifth tone of the G major scale? The fifth tone of the G major scale is D. So all G chords with a D are good to go. But a G chord with a D sharp or a G chord with a D flat qualifies as a G augmented and G diminished respectively. What do you think of an A chord? What is the fifth tone of an A? How many folks are understanding? Type it in the chat. What is the fifth tone of the A major scale? The fifth tone of the A major scale is E. So an A chord with E sharp is an A augmented chord. And an A chord with E flat is an A diminished chord. So think of an A chord with an E flat. That is A diminished. What is the fifth tone of all D chords? Of the D major scale, I'm sorry. The fifth tone of the D major scale is A natural. So if the A is raised, you have the D augmented chord. But if the A is lowered, you have the D diminished. Type it in the chat. I know my fifth. So this is why we need to understand and embrace our scale. And not just learning the E major scale because I want to play the E major scale as a warm-up mechanism, okay? If I'm learning the E major scale, I'm trying to know what the fifth tone is, which is B, so I can tell when the chord is augmented and I can tell when the chord is diminished. I'm learning that the fifth tone of the E major scale is B, so that when an E chord contains a B flat, I know it's diminished. When an E chord contains the B sharp, I know it's augmented. Oh my goodness, this revelation is amazing. Now, let's take it a step further to the 7. This is the third tone of the C major scale. It lets me know when it's major or minor. And this is the fifth tone that can give me the augmented and the diminished respectively. And we also have the 7th tone. The 7th tone helps me with the formation of 7 chords. Okay, I can have a major 7 chord, I can have a minor 7 chord. Now, why am I practicing the C major scale? Well, I want to know what the 7th tone is so I can understand 7 chords in the key of C major. What do you think of this chord? Is a C major 7 chord. I can see that this is on the 7th tone of the C major scale. What is the 7th tone? Who can tell me what the 7th tone of the F major scale is? What is the 7th tone of the F major scale? You got it. F major 7. it's going to be the E, because the E is the seventh tone of the F major scale. So here's the seventh tone of the F major scale. And here's the lowered seventh tone. So this is major seventh and this is minor seventh. So we've got major seventh and we also have minor seventh. So that is a great reason to learn my scales. I want to be able to form chords. Now let's back up a bit because I have something to show you before we end in the next 4 minutes. I don't want to keep you all for too long. So take a look at this. I know my third. That's where major and minor is determined. I know my fifth, where the augmented and the diminished is determined. I know my seventh as well, where I can have the major seventh and the minor seventh. There's also the diminished seventh, but we're not going to get into that today. But let me ask you, between the 1 and the third, what do we have skipped? What number is skipped? Type it in the chat. What number is skipped? What number is in between the 1 and the 3? That's the second. What number is skipped between the third and the fifth? What number is skipped between the third and the fifth? Between the third and the fifth is the fourth tone. And between the fifth and the seventh is what tone? Is the sixth. So let me know all together. What do we have skipped? We have the 2, we have the 4, we have the 6. Okay? Are you ready? Let's do it. We've got the 2, we've got the 4, and we've got the 6. All right? So those are the 3 numbers that are skipped here. So we have the 2, 4, and 6. And to understand the 2, 4, and 6, you do the math. We're going to add 7 to each of those numbers. 2 plus 7 will reveal the true identity of the second. 2 plus 7, that's your 9. 2 plus 4, that's your 11. 2 plus 7, 9. Okay? 4, that's the next one. Plus 7, that's the 11. And then 6 plus 7, that's the 13. So what you have here in between the 1 and the 3 is the 9. That's its true identity. So 9, 11, and 13. Every time you're playing the C major scale, you're busy playing the 9. I mean, look at the 9. The 9 is the second tone. The reason why I'm learning my C major scale is because I want to know what the second tone is. The second tone is the 9. You thought 9 chords are difficult? I'm sorry, they are not. Let me ask you one very simple question. How do you know an F chord is a 9th chord? An F chord is a 9th chord when it contains the second tone of the F major scale, which is G. That's why I've been practicing my F major scale. So take a look at this. An F chord with a 9, that's an F major 9. An F chord with the G, that's an F minor 9. An F major 7 chord with the second tone of F, which is G, that's an F minor 9. Every F chord with G, it's a 9th chord. That's why I'm practicing my scale. Do we have anybody here who knows what the second tone of the A major scale is? What is the second tone of the A major scale? The second tone of the A major scale is B. All A chords with a B are 9th chords. So what we've skipped here, we've skipped the 2, we've skipped the 4, we skipped the 6. Those are the 9th, the 11th, and the 13th. So the reason why I'm practicing my F major scale is to know that all F chords with a B flat, the 4th tone, are 11th chords. All F chords with a D, the 6th tone, are 13th chords. All F chords with a G are 9th chords. Isn't this wonderful? We're going to stop here because I'm going to the coaching session for today. And you want to send a text to the number on the screen so that we can check you out and see if it's going to be good for you. And then I'll see you in class. See you again tomorrow. All the best and bye for now.